If you are in the market for an affordable graphics card, you may be out of luck because someone that's totally not me has been buying up all of the graphics cards and using them for mining. And even though you're checking eBay for professional grade equipment, you still can't find anything within budget. Because such desperate times call for such desperate measures in 2018, we're going to be looking at some very old graphics cards. We're going to be seeing if a 4-way Crossfire between the 5970, and keep in mind this is a dual GPU card, so 2 cards with 2 GPUs making 4-way Crossfire, or a single 6970. So can 4 GPUs be good enough to get away with 1 GB of RAM, or if you're looking for a budget graphics card, do you really need 2 gigs of RAM? Let's find out. First up is our 4-way Crossfire solution, the 4 5970s. This is Dirt Rally, running with no anti-aliasing and the high preset. All of our games are tested at 1440 by 900 in this video. 4-way Crossfire managed 35.93 frames per second. Considering this is the high preset on a relatively new game with old hardware, that's kind of impressive. But not nearly as impressive as the 2 GB 6970, 65.61 frames per second average. Rise of the Tomb Raider doesn't have the best Crossfire or SLI support, but still, our 4 5970s managed a tolerable, if you're a console peasant, 31.12 frames per second. The 6970 managed 41.18 frames per second. This is using the low preset with no anti-aliasing. But if we bring up Rocket League, an esports title, so it's not too graphically demanding, plus it has some pretty good multi-GPU support, as we've found out in some of our benchmarks where we benchmark driver updates and BIOS updates in this series with Ryzen and a GTX 1080 here in the top right corner. You should click that if you're interested, just saying. In Rocket League, this is with absolutely maxed settings, except for motion blur. I just don't like it. When sitting still in a training match, we got 107.7 frames per second. But when we bring up the 6970, we got 141.5. If we simulate a 4-on-4 all-star bot match in drop shots, we get 53 frames per second on our 4-way Crossfire and 85 frames per second when it comes to the 6970. So looking back at all the benchmarks, I think it's pretty clear who won and who lost. Do not go for 4-way Crossfire with 1 GB of RAM. No matter how many GPUs you throw at it, 1 GB of RAM is not enough. You need at least 2 GB, and if you're feeling adventurous, maybe even 3. But in all seriousness, it really stinks that all the graphics cards are in the hands of minors. We should really get some adult supervision for those minors, and you should probably get a card with at least 4 gigs of RAM. I heard that Ethereum is supposedly no longer going to work with 3 gig cards, so hopefully the 1063 gig will become affordable, and if people mine the heck out of Ethereum, then maybe 4 gig cards, so like RX 480s and 570s will become affordable again as well soon. This video was brought to you by Bitcoin World, the coolest place to work in DFW, when it opens a month from this video. Nowhere else will you have a Bitcoin ATM in the lobby, a whole wall of TVs with live exchange rates, a computer history museum, and a bunch of computers set up where you can anonymously trade cryptocurrency without being tracked on your home network, and you can be surrounded by a bunch of other peers who are also working in tech-related fields. So if you're looking for a new office space for just you or a small firm of up to about 40 people, then why not check us out at bitcoinworldtexas.com. I'm so sorry, I never meant to hurt you. You were supposed to land on the pillow, but I overthrew it. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.